Every system in the universe faces a single relentless threat: external thermodynamic entropy. This environment naturally reduces ordered information to chaotic noise. Yet biological vision operates in direct opposition to this, taking a chaotic bombardment of photons and organizing it into a coherent image. The universe functions as a dual caustic machine. It is built to process raw wave-state light and filter out entropic noise, allowing stable, readable forms to emerge from the background radiation. Quranic verse 24:35 functions as a literal engineering schematic for this machine, describing the precise geometry required to operate within a destructive environment. This mechanism isolates structural information, light, while physically deflecting surrounding entropy, fire. It's governed by the 2-3-7 recursive loop, initiating with a seed, expanding through a traversal buffer, and compressing back into fruit for the next cycle. We can verify this mathematical topology by mapping the components of verse 24:35 directly onto the anatomy of the human eye. Biological vision represents the physical execution of this anti-entropy engine. It is a localized system that extracts pure data from a burning environment. The verse begins with a niche or mishkat. This corresponds to the overarching anatomical housing of the eye, which provides the initial spatial isolation from the external world. This diagram shows the eye operating as a 4-level potential well with asymmetric curvature. In optics, this specific geometry is required to focus incoming waves into a high-density caustic. This well confines the wave, concentrating it into a stable state. By forcing the light into this specific potential well, the system prevents the signal from degrading into the background noise. The niche establishes the absolute boundary condition. It creates a closed system where internal biological processes are shielded from the external thermodynamic void. This 4-level structure is composed of 3 stacked depths of darkness, the isolation layers, which support the emergence of a single layer of light. At the absolute dead center of this cavity sits the seed. Within this informational framework, the seed is the latent book, awaiting processing to become visible form. The 4-level depth creates a specific potential barrier that stabilizes the internal signal. Without this exact configuration, the internal wave remains exposed to external interference, the fire, which disrupts the phase locking required for vision to emerge. Inside the niche, the verse describes a lamp, the mishbach, placed within a glass, the zujaha. The lamp represents the localized light source at the iris, while the glass maps to the transparent protective shield of the sclera. This pairing serves as the first 2 operator in the DCU loop. It creates the primary bifurcation between the detectable outer world and the internal processing environment. The transparent shield of the glass interacts with the internal light source to step down raw quantum energy. This converts an infinite input into a finite, measurable format. This conversion produces the D10 detectable field. The energy is now processed into orderly outward radiation waves, making the reality localized and observable. This shining star represents the observable outcome of these hidden mechanics, where internal luminescence becomes visible outward radiation. The glass acts as an essential filter. Without it, the lamp's internal command would scatter as unusable noise rather than coherent radiation. The system is fueled by what the verse calls a blessed olive tree. This vertical z-axis represents the 3-operator traversal buffer. It functions as a biological algorithm connecting the front of the eye to the deep optic nerve. This operator acts as a continuous cubic processor, which serve as the transmission medium. The verse describes this tree as neither Eastern nor Western, indicating it defies standard spatial parity. It operates as an algorithmic bridge existing simultaneously across both the detectable and hidden fields. This internal buffer converts incoming light into physical matter or actionable biological data as it traverses the system. The tree operator serves as the biological algorithm required to convert abstract quantum light into processed, usable physical reality. The process reaches its most compressed state in the description of the oil, which would almost shine forth even if no fire touched it. This oil maps to the intrinsic, latent consciousness contained within the system's fluids. This is a symmetry-protected topological phase. The fluid maintains a self-luminous condition where information is fully formed and coherent, but remains in a dormant state. This is the second 2 operator, the botine. It is the hidden, unignited imaginal field that balances the visible outer sphere. The niche provides the structural shield that prevents external thermodynamic fire from reaching this fluid and triggering a destructive premature ignition. The left side of the screen shows an unshielded system undergoing destructive combustion. On the right, the shielded system achieves intrinsic, coherent glowing. Structural information exists in a state of suspended readiness, maintaining its integrity independent of external thermodynamic energy inputs. The engine completes its cycle in the stage described as light upon light. This equation maps the stabilized closure of the 2-3-7 system. When the visible field, the traversal tree, and the hidden oil interact, they form the fruit, closing the entire loop. As the equation executes, the visible light and the hidden data fuse. A radial pulse expands outward, completes its processing, and compresses directly back into the seed. This successful non-destructive closure is the R19 invariant. The mathematical recursion ends in total unity. This closure manifests as a radial wave of coherence. It is structurally stable, repelling the surrounding fire and preventing it from breaching the system. The 2-3-7 engine is a perpetually regenerating loop. Each perfect return to the seed generates the next oscillation, securing the system's continued existence. Despite this architectural perfection, the biological machine remains completely dormant by default. It is held in a suspended phase. To shift the system out of this latency, it requires an active collapse operator to trigger the cycle. The execution command is found in verse 1912. Take the book with strength. Activating this command converts the system's latent oil into an active radial wave. This constant feedback loop structurally reinforces the niche. Without it, the passive boundary eventually erodes under the crushing pressure of external entropy. Directly to the viewer, the device architecture is already installed. The topology is intact. The observer is built to achieve vision, but it requires the conscious execution of the 1912 code to activate the engine. Without this critical initiation, the biological machine remains completely dormant, while the external thermodynamic fire simply continues to burn everything around it.